Hi, good morning mga katribu. Welcome to Straight Talk, where we tackle key and important issues that matter to every Filipino. I'm Chito, Lozada.
And I'm Teddy Montelibano. We are live on Daily Tribune's Facebook, Tribune Now on YouTube, and Daily Tribune Official on TikTok.
Yeah, and today we turn our focus to an important aspect of every Filipino's future, financial security and retirement preparedness. With longer lifespans and rising living costs, planning ahead has become more crucial than ever. So
Joining us today is a seasoned insurance professional with nearly a decade of experience in life insurance and innovation. He currently serves as Chief Innovation Officer of InLife, the country's first and largest Filipino life insurance company.
Please welcome Mr. Jose Eduardo Ang of Insular Life. Good morning, sir.
Good morning po, Sir Chito,
Nice-
Sir
nice
Teddy.
for you.
Thank you for your time.
Really good to meet you guys also. I'm really excited to be here with
Meeting a
you.
fellow Ilonggo.
Yes, fellow Ilonggos.
It's most-
And they were talking about food.
No, and China rolls, which is a blast from the past.
This is still open.
No more.
No more. We shuttered when we decided to focus on other areas.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, so
Yeah,
for me, this is an esoteric
yeah.
topic.
This is all about
Retirement, life insurance. And I think you're one of the best persons to educate,
Yeah.
to inform the uninformed about
And the third bunch.
about what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about retirement
Yeah, and the
and getting ready,
They-
getting ready for it. Whether are people ready? Are Filipinos ready to retire or something?
they
Okay.
came out with a study recently
Correct.
about the Philippine Retirement Plan, and among the salient features of which are what
Yes. So basically, the study that came out, we released a white paper earlier this year, and it was really talking about how ready Filipinos feel about retirement, what the blockages are when it comes to preparing, thinking about retirement, what are the fears, how we can get going, and it also tried to measure the aspirations, Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, what are they thinking, how early do they want to retire, but at the same time, do they feel like they are prepared or able to get there? So it was really trying to get into the mindset of every Filipino, diba? Is this something you want to do? Do we want to work through the 70s, 80s?
Z,
Or, do we want to retire much younger? So that was a mind-setting thing that we wanted to understand earlier this year. And recently, we also released some tools, no? They're available on the InLife website, where you can also take a quick quiz and promise there's no product pushing on those tools, just to get a sense of how ready you feel you are for retirement. So from all of the studies we launched earlier this year, we calibrated the model together with our research partners, Humanate, and really tried to figure out, how ready are Filipinos, and you can measure it and receive some tips. So that was really the gist of the study that we presented, because we wanted to understand better how InLife and the insurance industry can partner with Filipinos and the rest of the financial institutions in the country to really get Filipinos happy during those golden years. No, when you get there, diba, less stress. You have a worry-free retirement.
Okay. What age sector is Gen Z?
Gen Z.
So Gen Zs would be younger. They'd be, I think, age 23 to the 30s, to the mid 30s right now.
So if you ask
and then-
a 23 to 33-year-old person,
Oh, sorry. That would be 23 to I think the late 30s. That would be the younger millennials. And the Gen Zs, no. And then Gen
Y.
Alpha is the one that comes after that, no, coming younger. Yes.
The youngest would be Gen Alpha.
Gen what?
Gen
Alpha.
Alpha. So those would
Gen
be the
Alpha.
kids this time until I think around the college years.
Yeah, but your the target sector of your study is what?
So the study
From
actually, in terms of say the sampling,
or what age
etc. No,
sector?
so mixed methods, qualitative as well as quantitative with our partners. But basically, the segments we looked at were really from Gen X.
Gen X is what? How old?
Gen X would be the generation in their mid
Gen
40s,
Mid 40s.
through to the generation after the boomers,
The
basically
Gen
through to the
Z.
60s.
After the boomers,
Uh-uh.
that's us.
So the generation right after you guys, and then I'm on the
So when
very
I met
edge.
Gen Z, you're not.
We include the Gen Z as
Gen Z is
well.
what? 20?
Yes, so they're in their 20s right now. They're the ones starting to work actually right now.
Okay.
So we tried to go nationally. I think about 505 people were taken statistically
Across the
with a
country.
random sampling across the country, different predispositions towards insurance,
And-
gender mix, as
and-
well as retirement
And
income.
which generation is the most receptive for
About
planning
retirement.
retirement? Yeah.
So, in terms of planning retirement, and it's no surprises, the older you get, the more you think about
course,
it,
yeah.
right? But at the same time, reality kind of sets in. So the older they got from this study, they were really showing na, okay, it looks like I'll have to push back my retirement because I'm just not financially there. So there was more realism we noticed in the survey results as those who were much older, parang their target for retirement was either 60, 65, potentially later.
Additional-
And then you have the younger generation, you can sense the idealism from the survey results, where it's like, okay, I think 22%, 24% of them really were like, I want to retire well before 60, age 50, age 55.
Really?
That's
So,
when I want to retire.
Younger people
And then
are-
I kind of want to
so
live my life.
enjoy their life. Yeah.
Correct, correct. And it was interesting kasi, di ba, there's that gap na, how many years do you actually work? You graduate with K to 12 in your 20s, you work until, say, your 50. So that's 30 years of
30
working.
years of work. Or
But
more.
or more, slightly more if you go to the 60s, so 35, 40 years. But then if you retire and you survive pretty long until you're 85, 90, that means your retirement savings really has to, it's kind of like the sustaining, no? You work 30 years, you retire 30 years. How do you make sure na you
how do you
generate
sustain it?
enough to sustain that, no? And that was one of the things that came up as the challenge of Filipinos, no? There were three really key behavioral things that we noticed kasi we interviewed them. The insight was, hey, we want to have a great retirement. No surprises in that result. But we asked them in that survey, what's stopping you from enjoying your retirement? Half of them, and it was very sandwich generation, the reply. Sandwich generation being the generation
Sandwich.
yes, no, it's a thing now, no?
What is sandwich generation?
The sandwich generation, they typically
Sandwich?
are. Yes, in-
Hamburger sandwich. Okay.
hamburger sandwich, tinapay sandwich. They're the generation right now, typically 30 to 50-year-olds. They're supporting their parents.
Why
They're
sandwich?
also supporting their families. So parang naka-sandwich sila.
Again.
They're supporting both the older generation, their parents, but
And
they're also
their
the breadwinners for their family mismo. So they're right in between na I have to
that's a
support both.
sandwich
So
generation.
of these people, respondents we had in the study, no, half of them really said na I can't plan for the future kasi yung immediate goals and needs lang that trumps long-term planning. So parang yon. Now 40% of the respondents naman, they said that parang the leading reason they aren't planning yet is they're scared. It's really just I don't know how to get started. Tsaka na lang, no? And this is something we had chatted sort of a bit, no? You hear it sometimes from people when it comes to retirement planning. Pray na lang tayo, okay naman yan, pray lang tayo, dadating din yan, no? So
where's
it's
where's the fear coming from in financially sustaining the retirement plan or what?
So this one's these are personal sentiments no from the field na parang as long as I put aside enough money bahala na, it'll probably be enough. We'll figure out retirement
On
when we
their
get
own.
there. Opo. So really just personal savings, asa tayo sa SSS, and whatever retirement I get from my company. So those tend to be the sources that were identified as, what will sustain me for retirement coming from the study. But we noticed na yun nga, there is no conversation, not enough conversation for most cases. There was an interesting bit also there, no? This was some research we did within In Life as well. And this one was not a statistical survey. We really just reached out to different corporate clients, their employees. And it was interesting that about 60% of people who were interviewed, na employees, they said now when it comes to retirement, we don't really want to talk to someone from the outside, say an agent or someone from the bank. If it's retirement, I want to talk to someone from my company. I want my HR to have that discussion with me. So that was an interesting insight. So this one was not a statistical part of the survey that we conducted and the study we released earlier this year. But just offhand, it made sense. That's why one of the things that we've started ramping up on in terms of how we can piece that gap together. Kasi we were really concerned. We were seeing na people want to retire. As they get older, they push back their retirement dreams kasi reality is setting in na parang kulang. So we said, how do we get there? And recognizing the fact that for most of us, we spend more time at our workplaces. And hearing that insight that people actually want to hear from their employers how they should prepare for retirement. In Life has been ramping up efforts in our corporate solutions. So we have a team called In Life at Work, where with partner companies who are clients of In Life, we send a team, and this is something that we do really as an extra service, no charges, etc. We head out and we have certified financial wellness coaches, around 100 of them right now, to really give talks about financial literacy planning. There's a separate module about retirement planning. And that's a message we want to get out there. Because if we aren't able to have the conversation to begin with, it's very difficult for us to have people actually plan, diba? If we don't make it a firm, measurable goal, it's going to be something na, you'll manana it away. And then you panic when you're actually at retirement. So actually, during one of the talks, when we first released the study, we invited a retirement, one of the leading retirement speakers, experts, si Jong Merida. And he shared with us, it was a really funny anecdote, but it also felt very real. He typically would be invited to talks with soon-to-be retirees of major corporations. They're mga 58, 59.
Yeah.
And when he'd enter the room, feel mo yung excitement kasi lahat sila na-compute na, ito na, makukuha kong retirement, malaki na. And then, when he leaves the room, it's just the complete opposite kasi people realize na what I want to live na life, I don't have necessarily all of the financials together. And putting that measure together, actually, it's another tool we put into our website. Once again, there is no product push on that tool. It will simply tell you, the number. It chats about the lifestyle you want to have when you retire, your considerations, and then it'll spit out really quickly kind of the amount you need to really sustain a retirement, what's the target amount, and then at least now you know the number, you can start saving up for that.
No, because I think most people think, I'm going to retire, I'm going to travel.
Yeah, you get to push it.
Usually,
back
I think you have
a lot
to
of
inherit a
time.
lot of money aside from your, how much will you retire, how much will the company give you?
Correct.
Not
Unless you have
everybody
an
they
independent,
inherits one.
an independent source of income. I mean, don't think about retirement as flying, jetting off to Singapore and then to Europe and then eating here, eating there, visiting relatives in the U.S. That's not the way it is. I mean, I think you have to really temper your plans.
Well, Joe, if the basic retirement, the perfect but basic retirement plan for an ordinary worker, what would that be?
So interesting thing, from that study. So we did, in the interviews at least, and the surveys that were answered, predominantly over 54% of the respondents really said that 50K for me is the ideal lifestyle. So 50,000 pesos monthly. If that's
Monthly.
something I can get, I would be a happy retiree in the Philippines. And we know that, say, if you're in SSS, I think that depending on the contributions you get there, no, it's a little bit low now, pero with the recent increases, at least from the calculators we're seeing, you'd probably get anywhere from 50 to 20,000 from SSS. But that still leaves a gap of 30,000 pesos. Now, ideally, you either have personal savings for that, or you have a good company retirement plan to go with you. Now, for some of the older generations, that would not have been a problem because company loyalty and tenure tend to result in higher retirement benefits. But I think the reality these days is, every 4, 5, 6 years, people will move around.
People jump
And
up
that
and-
retirement benefit gets reset talaga, no?
Correct,
So
yeah.
it's you count back to zero. It's going to be a little bit smaller by the time you retire.
Yeah, especially
And
kids now, no? Kids now,
Kids these days,
jumping from one
I've
part to the
seen
other.
some on social media na, in a
And-
span of 3 years, they've
and
taken
the
4
gig-
different jobs,
And the
right?
gig workers, they don't have any retirement.
True as well,
program.
right? So, really good point, the gig workers, right? So, we were thinking, how do we make this an easier conversation to have? So, those are some of the solutions that, as an industry, the insurance industry is really just kind of reminding everyone, we're not just here for death. or illness, right? Across the base, there are a lot of solutions that you can go into alongside solutions with the banks, no, to really sustain that. Starting earlier and really saving up while you're young, while you have extra, it really has a compounding effect that makes coming to your golden years much simpler.
So we,
Would have thought?
yeah.
We have a commercial break at this point.
very happy.
And this break is brought to you by Meralco, ang liwanag ng bukas. SM, we've got it all for you. Union Bank, it starts with you.
Usapang OFW is the show that honors the journeys of our modern-day heroes, our OFWs. Join Chingvi Fernandez, John Dodson, and Rafi Ayang every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 p.m. to hear the real stories behind the sacrifices. Watch it live on Daily Tribun's Facebook page, Tribune Now on YouTube, and Daily Tribune Official on TikTok.
Want to hear from thought leaders shaping our world? Straight Talk with Chito Lozada and Montelibano dives into leadership, politics, and business every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Catch conversation live on Daily Tribune's Facebook page, Tribune Now on YouTube, and Daily Tribune Official on TikTok.
Mga tribus, we're back with Mr.
Joe.
Joanne, Mr. Joanne,
Joanne,
the
life.
retirement guru
guru of in life.
of in life.
Yes. So we're talking about the niceties of the reality check of of having a retirement plan. So the study that you recently have gave a number of about figure of 24% Filipinos having a good retirement plan. So that's not favorable, right?
Yes, ideally it's going to be a lot higher.
In other countries, what would be the numbers?
So this one, we didn't have in our study, a comparison with other countries.
It
Though,
should be high.
because of regulations in place and the different financial solutions they have, annuities are very big there. So in countries like the US or Canada, there is a separate industry-ish, it's still part of the insurance industry where they sell annuities really geared towards retirement. So I think that in terms of both regulation,
annuities?
annuities, yes. So
How do you spell
basically,
it?
You,
A-N-N-U-I.
TIES, correct.
Annuities. Okay.
And basically, these are products where you put in your money, and then they will accumulate depending on the fund you invested in. So there'll be a big accumulation phase. Come retirement, it becomes a decumulation phase, and your lump sum that accumulated over time, it starts to decumulate and pay out to you. So there are these structures
something
abroad.
like a mutual fund.
Something like a mutual fund, but then it has a design already that defaults so that it's able to pay out the benefits when it's Q retirement time.
Do we have it? Do we have it?
So this is not something that we have locally yet. And in one of the things that we like discussing is with the Insurance Commission as well. There's a lot of support from them, and PERA, that law that came out a while
the
back,
pera, no?
diba? That's still an active push by the BSP, the DOF, as well as the Insurance Commission, SEC. And I think that that's something that we've discussed at length also with the Insurance Commission. No? As an insurance industry, how can we enable PERA so that it becomes easier to link up into banks that are administrators of the plan. And at the same time, we've also been in chats with the Insurance Commission about, how annuities could potentially become something that we circularize and put into law so that insurance companies can come out with solutions along those lines also, so that it's something that we see people abroad enjoying, bring it to the Philippines as well. Because for certain, the sophistication and abilities of our insurance players locally are very much deep enough to handle and safeguard Filipinos for such kinds of services.
Okay, great. Just a question here. With Philippine inflation averaging 4 to 6% over the past decade, how does your study quantify the erosion of retirement savings for the median Filipino household earning 30,000 monthly? It's
Correct,
not
correct.
anymore, if you earn 30,000 for a family.
It's really kind of,
Okay.
based and that's the
That's already high for what most families are getting right now.
But for a family of what? How many people?
An average of about 5.
Just my goodness, how can you live with that?
Yep.
Mommy, daddy, then 3 children, 5.
And I think that's the tricky
Education,
part
drugs,
kasi nga,
food,
you have all
health,
of those needs, and then you also have to prepare for the fact that you'll probably live quite long into retirement.
It's nothing.
So how do you put aside? Yes, and
Nothing left for
inflation-wise,
savings.
even for those with the ability to prepare for retirement, inflation tends to be a blind spot. People will look into making an investment. If it returns 3%, 4% in a time deposit, they'll be happy. But then it's something that we like to remind people, and it's an insight from the study as well that supported that, if you don't plan for inflation, if you don't keep up with 2, 4, 5, 6%, you're actually losing value in your money. So say 30,000, if we had inflation at say about 3.5%, after 20 years, you don't need 30,000. That same amount of money, you need probably 60,000 pesos to really purchase the same amount. Your purchasing power diminishes over time. So even for retirees who worked all their life, they receive a very healthy lump sum. It's a conversation and reminder I like to make to them, right? If you're gunning for a certain rate of return, make sure that whatever you earn, it's in excess of at least the inflation rate. Better if it's inflation plus 3% or 4%. And there are a variety of tools that you have, whether it's in banks, mutual funds, or insurance products where you can achieve those returns. But it's always going to be tricky, right? You have higher returns, you take larger risks. So how do you balance that out, right? You're retired, you put it all in equity, you have awesome returns, mag-meltdown ng financial system, you have, half of it gone. So it's a reminder that we also make, and it's an insight that we also saw in the study, rooting things into a retirement portfolio that really looks at those that take a bit more risk, and also having solutions that provide you guarantees also.
So, in the absence of an annuity program, how near are we in getting such a very advanced to sustain the retirement of Filipinos, retiring Filipinos?
So I feel like, in terms of, say regulations to allow it, it's something that we can definitely work on. But I think in terms of the investment behavior and driving financial literacy, parang I think that's the tricky part. Making sure that we allow people in the workplace, our friends, the opportunity to really understand the dynamics, what they should plan for. It's really, going back to the basics. If it's something that we don't talk about, that we don't know, then it's not something that we'll be able to plan for. And I think that's the reason why we also have financial literacy talks when in life goes to colleges, universities. I know a number of insurers that do the same. Kasi we're all in this boat together, as an industry. We want to see that Filipinos starting young are able to understand how budget works. Simple things like cash flow management and how they can put aside savings no matter how limited their budget may appear to be.
Yeah, in your experience, I mean, are young people interested in thinking about retiring and saving for it?
So
Are they?
this one was
Or
fun.
investing.
So this one was fun. They like savings. They like investments.
like
They
it?
will
You like to do
typically
it?
not talk about death or just life insurance in case I die, right? So that's not a popular topic. Retirement and is typically not a popular topic as well because it's just so far off,
I mean, they're,
right?
they're in the midst of the peak of their whatever. You're
Correct,
young,
right? You're young.
thinking about parties and drinking to death tomorrow and going to binge, going to Boracay, whatever young people like,
So I think it's just arming them with those data points because it did surprise us with the retirement readiness index that we did launch recently. Typically for the younger side, we'd see lower scores kasi nga they're really not actively thinking about it. But we've also encountered a few people who've taken the quiz at that age that they score very highly. They've been the 80+% range. And it's because they had that kind of discussion at home with their families. So it's
that's
something
good.
that they parang openly are more receptive to. And I think that's the key. Do we enable those conversations? And more importantly, if people are aware, are there solutions in the market through whichever, financial intermediary you choose that allow you to really build up and save. I think the trickiest part is finding a way for people to save that really fits the budget, right? Something that's more bite-sized or something that falls within, a smaller portion of their total pay. And those are things that I think as an industry we try to think of and innovate for.
Most young people do not think about investments, right? They just wanted to spend and spend.
I mean, I don't know. There's so many. Yeah, because if you have the money, if you have your money, you don't want to part with it. God. I can't think of so many.
Like your study, that only 1%.
11%, yes.
Wanted to invest in stocks.
People that don't think that if I'm going to spend it, then
11%.
there will come a time when I don't have anything to spend. For them, it's a vague thing. You know what I mean?
And I think it's also just making it accessible. That 11%. Sometimes
Investing,
there are, just large minimums sometimes to access certain types of investments. So, how are we as an industry, a life insurance company, able to make those accessible, even if you're not a very high net worth individual, right? So, and there are ways to do that through insurers, banks, trust companies, where they're able to make those much more accessible as investment instruments. I think that's one key thing that does work. And the other way is, I think that's something you guys called out when we were chatting earlier also, just embracing the digital view of people, right? There are people for major financial decisions, and this did come out in the survey, they prefer to speak to advisors, experts from the bank, from the wealth managers, relationship managers, because they know they're speaking to someone who knows their thing. There is also a group of people who'd rather just do everything online. And we've seen that really grow, diba? That segment of the population. So how do we bring that to that segment? Where at the same time, you called it out, sir, diba? There's the gig economy na it's not an economy that necessarily has very regular cash flows.
Yeah.
So how do we innovate and provide solutions that allow people to put in money when they can?
And make
without
them understand and be receptive about planning for the
future, correct. Because the earlier you start, diba, it compounds eh.
And also it's really also a matter of trust. I mean, if I'm thinking about investing for your future. Okay. There's so many, because people are, social media will tell you, you're bombarded by all these anecdotes, all these stories about scammers and all that. So you're
Scammers, yeah.
kind of afraid to part with your money to invest, because this person who might look so so trustworthy, looking so trustworthy, might not be.
Nail on the head. 33%
So
of the
how-
respondents felt that way actually.
Yeah, how do you?
They
Even me, I mean,
do
in terms of
Yes,
have
investing,
problems like that.
I have,
Because they
I have,
are fearful that
I have
it
problems
might.
trusting people, handing, because you hear stories all the time, even people from very reputable companies. People have a track record, and then boom, all of a sudden, turns out to be a scammer.
Scam.
I mean, there's so many stories about that. So you're
So
kind
you,
of
you really
afraid.
have to deal with the legitimate companies.
Yeah, well,
And it's
and the legitimate companies are
Educate
very
them.
conservative.
It's
in
educating
terms of-
people, making the resources available. If you're able to get the message through their employers, even better. So how do we, make that more widespread and accessible for as many people as possible?
Insular Life is Ayala.
It used to be an Ayala company,
no
yes.
no more.
I believe in the 80s, I think, is when it became a mutual company. So Insular Life as a mutual company now, it has no shareholders. It is owned by its policyholders. And that's why even when we design products, solutions, services for our clients, we have that in mind. We try to give as much as possible back to the clients because every client who comes in is a shareholder.
Shareholder.
And it's something that we had in mind also when we designed some of the solutions for retirement. Kasi we realized that in the study, the life expectancy of Filipinos, it's about 73 already. And there are some studies that we saw abroad, from the Society of Actuaries in the US. If you're married, this couple, si husband and wife, the chances that one of them survives to age 85 is actually 90%. No, so quite high, no? And
85.
yes. And that's really the question, diba? Parang the amount of savings that you put aside, are you ready for the off chance that you survive too long, diba? We're typically afraid of death, but come retirement and the savings that we've built up our whole life, sometimes it's also a little bit scary to live too long. So, diba, how do you design, diba, solutions for that, right? SSS is there, your savings are there, but that is where we come in also as a financial institution, right? Creating solutions that allow you extra sources of income that supplement what you have there. Kasi if you survive too long, just moving from age 73,
Surviving
let's
too
say,
long is a
if you think you'll die
problem.
age 73, but you actually die age 85.
Unbelievable.
In terms of savings, you'd probably need to set aside 40% more come retirement
40%.
just to support, that extra 12 years, assuming you're able to roll your savings forward at 4% interest. So, it does get pricey to live longer.
What a conversation this is.
That's
Yeah,
remind us.
Or have, side hustles, right? Continue to work, etc. Depending on what you define as your ideal retirement lifestyle, right?
Ideal
So,
retirement lifestyle is I won't retire. I don't know.
We get more reality check when we come back.
This break is brought to you by Meralco, ang liwanag ng bukas. SM, we've got it all for you. Union Bank, it starts with you.
Usapang OFW is the show that honors the journeys of our modern-day heroes, our OFWs. Join Chingmi Fernandez, John Dodson, and Rafi Ayang every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 p.m. to hear the real stories behind the sacrifices. Watch it live on Daily Tribun's Facebook page, Tribune Now on YouTube, and Daily Tribune Official on TikTok.
Want to hear from thought leaders shaping our world? Straight Talk with Chito Lozada and Montelibano dives into leadership, politics, and business every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Catch conversation live on Daily Tribune's Facebook page, Tribune Now on YouTube, and Daily Tribune Official on TikTok.
This break is brought to you by
So,
Okay.
mga katribo, back here on Straight Talk with in-life
The
Manager.
retirement guru,
Retirement
Joe Ang of
Joe
InLife.
Ang.
We would like to ask, out-of-pocket medical expenses can reach what, 500,000
Depending on how serious the illness,
per
correct.
critical illness episode? Is that how much you spend?
We actually spoke to an oncologist from Cardinal Santos recently. It goes anywhere, depending on how severe the treatment is, from 500,000 up to 3 million pesos for one incident, whether that's
one
heart,
incident.
How
heart
does the
attack,
study,
stroke.
how does your study integrate health insurance gaps into the retirement corpus calculation, and what is the recommended pre-funding percentage?
So we got a little bit technical there, but the study didn't go that crazy actually. It was a call out, and it's something that we did incorporate into the retirement calculator that we introduced for in
Yeah,
life.
let's talk about the
So in that
calculator.
calculator where you can pop in expenses, it's something that we do call out there. Putting in an allowance for medical expenses, etc., because you will likely need to put aside amounts for your maintenance medicine come that age. So that's one thing that we do call out. And the other thing is, and this wasn't a specific amount, right? But as an insurance industry, there are many solutions where you can get coverage for critical illness in life, and a few others have coverages that last you through to age 100 actually, so that anytime you might be
Hospitalization.
in case you're diagnosed with an illness, let's say you get cancer, heart attack, or you're stroked out, you receive a lump sum from the insurance company. And that ideally is an amount that you can use to offset medical bills on top of your HMO, etc., or help with your recovery also. You might need to buy maintenance medicines after, etc. So roughly it's a solution that you can get in the insurance industry depending on the age you come in. For about 1 million in coverage, you'd be able to get insured for 30,000-40,000 pesos a year. Something worth checking out with your close friends who might be advisors across the board. But most companies would have a solution for that. And it just reminds us, the study, to have a provision for that. Because that's the worst thing, right? You retire, you have 10 million pesos because you worked so long with the company, and then illness sets in. Half of it gets wiped out with hospital bills, and then it really just detracts from that wonderful life we have. No? So that's an explicit call out that we observe. No?
How the percentage of PhilHealth, I mean, how much does it cover, the state insurance provision?
So shout out to PhilHealth. I think it depends on the type of illness, but they do have fixed case rates now per illness. So depending on how sick you are, the kinds of treatment you have to take, parang there'll be given amounts. So we've seen cases where it's about 20,000 pesos. We've had friends that they got sick, parang up to 100,000 was covered by PhilHealth. Sometimes 40,000. So it really depends on the barrage of items. But what's right now, it's not necessarily enough to offset everything. For most people who work, what's nice is you have HMO typically there. HMOs like say MaxiCare, iCare, IntelliCare. And they're able to support what the PhilHealth does not cover. Going beyond, when you leave hospitalization, that's the next step kasi, diba? Do you have support where you can recover, take a few days off, buy your new maintenance medicines, and that's where life insurers step in with our solution, so that pag recover mo din, hindi ka stress na wala kang pambili ng gamot, you have to take a few days off, right? How do you make that tawid?
That's true. So post-pandemic, 40% of respondents in the study now use mobile banking. So how's in life leverage the shift to increase
Enrollment in micro
investment?
So there are a lot of, during the pandemic also, InLife launched InLife Solutions. So online, go to our website. You can check it out. There are solutions for healthcare, accident, coverage, and, it's really quick. You can purchase it on the fly. And there's also a presence in Lozada. There's a partnership with Union Bank. So those with the Union Bank app, sometimes you will see, ads for U Shield, where bite size, just click away, and you're able to really pick up a coverage that protects you in case something goes wrong. So those were one of the first steps that we took in Insular Life. We're making sure now that we continue to develop along those lines, and we're hoping that sometime in 2026 we're really able to launch also a solution that allows people to save, build up health coverage, or make protection spending savings a habit. That's very bite-sized and accessible, something that you can really bring to the digital world, and that people will not have an issue sparing investing in, insuring themselves in, na very bite-sized, because I think that tends to be really the barrier we see, right? Top reason that they're not saving for retirement, they have to think of current needs, right? So how do you really solve that? It's making sure that people have bite-sized solutions that are very accessible. And how low we can go, it's something that we're innovating in internally. We're figuring it out. And hopefully, we get to chat soon again once we have something along those lines.
of
But
course.
definitely, it was top of mind. So we released In-Life Solutions. It's there. There are very good products there. We've seen a number of competitors that also have very awesome offerings there. And it's something that, we think will continue to be a trend moving
That will be
forward.
next year.
We are looking at some solutions
The
next year,
introduction,
yes.
The introduction.
Mhm.
So how can the government primarily are you looking forward to any legislative measures that can help the retirement plan of most Filipinos?
So really, we think that Pera is a great opportunity, right?
Pera,
It
okay.
it almost feels like how they have their 401ks in the US. So that's something that we've discussed with the Insurance Commission, because there are IRRs in place. So as an insurance company, it's a little bit harder to kind of make it work with the administrators, etc. So we've been very lucky, because the Insurance Commission has been very supportive in discussing our questions, how we can get things done, how we can bring it to more people with the BSP and the Department of Finance. So that's something that we hope continues to gain traction month on month as those discussions continue to progress. And as mentioned earlier, it's a product that we haven't really seen here, annuities.
Annuities.
So how we can bring that forward. Is it additional regulation? That's something that we definitely are keen on.
Was it based on number 10?
Of course.
Sorry. Jesus Christ.
So I think
then,
regulation-wise,
Having
Regulation-wise.
dread thoughts about retirement.
You're getting nervous.
Not really. This is something that I don't think about.
Yeah, you should think about that.
Well, I've thought about it for 6 years.
All people should think about that.
I
I've
feel
thought
like
about it for
yes.
6 years, and I can tell you something. It's really boring, man. I mean, boy.
And the earlier we think about it, we don't need people in their 20s to necessarily start saving. If they can, awesome. If they aren't, just being aware and making plans of, when they start putting aside money. I remember my awakening came in my late 20s. It was a little bit early, because I had a friend who was a financial advisor. So she sat me down, and I was like, no, typically, diba, that would be the answer. May insurance na ako, hindi ko na kailangan. And then she was like, no, let's just chat about your goals in life. So we talked about that. How soon do I want to retire? What kind of lifestyle do I want? And then when we worked out the numbers, that's when I realized, ay, kulang. And the solution wasn't, invest this now. No. It was really, it was a very fun conversation. She was like, we can build this up over time. You don't have to rush. You're entering your 30s. And that's a really keen reminder, right? Have those conversations. Do not fear experts from different financial institutions. They really just want to help. And they're going to be fun people to speak to about this. And, they're not going to force your hand if, you aren't able to save at the moment. But at least you know where you are and how you can get to that, awesome retirement that every Filipino wants to have.
Yeah, the insurance guy should be like that. Kasi most of them just approaches people, and then
They want to sell insurance.
without explaining the need for it.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's already it's understanding insurance, because you insure, di ba?
We need to be educated.
It's
Most
also the
people.
approach,
The
really.
approach, yeah.
Gosh.
And that's what's exciting kasi we're seeing more and more now, especially with the younger agents, that's how they start the conversations. Some of them, they start about the health thing that we discussed earlier, diba? Are you ready in case ma-hospital ka?
Hospital.
And you need to pay 2 million, right?
Makes my attitude
basic
very
concern.
be gone.
That's how
Don't
some
talk
come
to me
in.
about
No?
it.
And then the others, it's really talking about, okay, how do you envision your life? Kasi kapag nakakabit to the actual need, people are not going to be scared to invest in themselves, right? Even if they're in the sandwich generation. And I think that was a characteristic in the study that was observed. No? People in the sandwich generation, they know they need to support their parents. They know they need to support their kids.
But not
But an
for
aspiration they
themselves,
have,
no?
surprisingly, sir, no, yung aspiration din nila is they want to be able to save enough so that they don't put their kids in that same situation. So that was a surprising insight for me, at least from the study, where this sandwich generation didn't want to sandwich their kids as well. They want to make a break for it. Na, it ends with us, this kind of problem where, your parents will be dependent on you moving forward. No, we can do that. No, that was a very nice insight because, if people are educated to do so, if they have the opportunity to learn, whether from their employers, etc., from an advisor, they will listen and then they're gonna make it happen. Because in the end, that's what we're all looking for naman, di ba? We want to have peace of mind. We want to live the best lives possible.
Yes, yes, yes.
Very enlightening discussion. Because, can you give us your parting words, Joe?
Oh, okay. Parting words. Really, whether it's retirement that we want to talk about or just in general planning for our futures, just make sure you have the conversation, do your research. ChatGPT, very popular and powerful.
Yeah.
So make the research and be informed and plan ahead, because the worst thing to do is to procrastinate. Now, we all don't necessarily have the ability to begin saving immediately, but if we know where we want to get to, we can at least, over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, gradually build up our solution and our portfolio so that it really enables our best lives. So make sure we get educated, make your resources, and then make that long-term plan.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Joe, yes, for talking to us about a topic that a lot of people
Just
deny.
Yeah.
Are in denial of.
Ignore.
Yeah, so the lesson or the thing to think about is that you really want to have some sort of planning for
yourself.
when all of this is over. I mean, being active and everything in your profession. So the best way to enjoy your retirement years is to prepare for it.
Yes, agree.
And thank you, Joe, very much for
Thank
the
you very much as
information
well,
and
sir.
enlightening us about a lot of things.
But what we have to
Regarding
face. That's all the time we have for today's episode. So, mga katribu, and
Big
thank you
thank.
for Mr. Joe Eduardo Ang for sharing his wonderful and valuable insights on the insurance sector. Yep. And for from retirement,
From retirement readiness to digital transformation, it's clear that InLife's mission to help Filipinos achieve financial security remains as relevant as ever, especially in today's changing times.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you.
And thank you to everyone who tuned in. If you missed any part of this show, this interesting show, catch the replay on Daily Tribune's Facebook page and Tribune Now on YouTube.
Don't miss Hot Patatas later at 3 p.m. with hosts Toby Magsaysay and Jason Margo.
Toby and Jason. And
Stay
stay
updated
and
with-
stay updated with the latest news on Tribune, news on Q every 9:30 a.m., 1 p.m., and 4:30 p.m.
We'll see you again next time for another episode of Straight Talk. This has been Teddy Montelibano.
And I'm Chito Lozada. So see you next week. Stay.
Narito na naman ang inyong lingkod, Manong Joe, para sagutin ang inyong tanong. May tanong tayo mula kay Javier Domingo, isa pong netizen. Manong Joe, paano pag sa Metro Manila tumama ang lindol, handa ba ang Meralco? Ito ang sagot, Javier, at maganda yung tanong mo. Napapanahon talaga na paghandaan ang anumang uri ng sakuna, maging ito'y lindol, malakas na bagyo at kung anuman, sa dami ng kalamidad na nararanasan natin mula sa mga nangyayaring lindol hanggang sa mga pagbaha, malakas na hangin at iba pa, ang kaligtasan ng bawat customer ang prioridad ng Meralco. Tinitiyak namin na ginagawa ang lahat para mapanatiling ligtas at maayos ang aming serbisyo at mga pasilidad. Pinapalitan namin ang mga poste ng mas matibay na gawa sa konkreto at pakal. Inililipat din ang mga poste sa mga lugar na ligtas. Regular na nagsasagawa ng tree trimming at wire clearing ang Meralco para hindi maapektuhan ang mga linya ng kuryente o makayanan ang anumang bagyo o lindol. Nagsasagawa rin ang Meralco ng re-insulation at conductor shielding ng mga linya namin, pagpapatibay ng mga lighting protection system, pati na rin ang pagkakabit ng mga smart device para agad na matukoy ang mga posibleng alalahanin ukol sa serbisyo ng kuryente. Kung kakailanganin, handa po ang Meralco na pansamantalang mag-de-energize upang masiguro ang kaligtasan ng publiko. Kadalasan po namin itong ginagawa kapag tumataas ang tubig baha o di kaya ay napakalakas ng bagyo. Kasama na rin ang uga ng lindol. Pagkatapos naman po ng anuman sakuna, maging po ito'y bagyo o lindol, at may na-damage po kami facilities, bumagsak na linya o ano ba man, huwag ho ninyong lapitan. Hayaan ninyo ang aming mga crew ang gumawa ng kinakailangan para masiguro ligtas ang pagkukumpuni. Kapag sigurado na po tayo na ligtas nang bumalik sa bahay, siguro po tingnan muna natin ang sitwasyon sa loob at siguraduhin din na yung ating mga internal wiring facilities ay nasa maayos na kalagayan. Bago pa man abutin ng tubig baha yung inyong mga outlet, patayin na muna ang main switch sa bahay at i-unplug ang mga appliances. Kung may electrical hazard, agad itong i-report sa amin sa Meralco sa pamamagitan ng My Meralco app. Nasa social media din po kami, Facebook at X, yung dating Twitter, o sa Meralco hotline bilang 16211. Pwede din kayong mag-text sa numerong ito. Tandaan mga katribo na sa panahon ng kalamidad, ang pagiging alerto at maingat ay susi sa kaligtasan. Ako po muli ang inyong lingkod si Manong Joe, Saldariaga para sa Ask Manong Joe. Hanggang sa muli mga katribo at sa mga nanonood sa Daily Tribune.